welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into a classic, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And we're not just doing a quick summary. Our goal here is to pull out the really practical stuff, things you can actually use day to day.
Exactly. And what's so compelling about Carnegie, I think, is how grounded his work is. It wasn't just dreamt up in an office somewhere.
Right.
These ideas grew over, 15 years? From his adult education courses. It was like a real-world lab for human relationships. He saw firsthand what worked and, well, what didn't.
15 years of testing it out.
Yeah.
That really gives it some weight, doesn't it?
It does. And he didn't just rely on that practical side. Or rather his team, too. They really dug deep into research.
Oh, yeah. Like what sort of things?
Well, everything. Newspaper articles, court records, philosophy, psychology, but also biographies.
Yeah.
Lots of biographies.
Leaders and such.
Yeah, from Julius Caesar all the way up to Theodore Roosevelt. I mean, they supposedly read over 100 biographies just of Roosevelt alone, trying to figure out what made them tick, how they connected with people.
Wow, 100 on Roosevelt. That's dedication.
It shows how serious he was about finding patterns, right? And he didn't stop at historical figures. He actually went out and talked to successful people of his own time.
Like who?
Inventors like Marconi and Edison, political figures like Franklin D. Roosevelt, business leaders, even stars like Clark Gable and Mary Pickford.
So, a real mix. He was trying to find those common threads then. The secrets to, well, winning friends and influencing people.
Pretty much. So what we want to do today is distill that wisdom, give you, our listeners, some clear takeaways for, navigating those human connections a bit better.
Okay, sounds good. Where do we start? What's the foundation?
Well, Carnegie lays out these fundamental techniques for handling people. And the very first one is perhaps the hardest sometimes. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
Sounds simple. But yeah, it's our default a lot of the time, isn't it?
It really is. And Carnegie argues it rarely works. Think about Theodore Roosevelt again, his sharp criticism of President Taft.
Yeah. What happened?
It didn't make Taft change course, it just made him defensive.
Yeah.
He apparently said, with tears in his eyes, "I don't see how I could have done any differently. Criticism just builds walls."
That makes sense. It triggers justification, not reflection.
Exactly. And Lincoln, who was, incredibly savvy about people, he understood this. After Gettysburg, he was furious with General Meade, wrote this really harsh letter.
But he didn't send it.
Nope. He stopped himself. Realized it would just wound Meade, cause resentment, and probably make him less effective later on. It wouldn't achieve anything positive.
That's real foresight, choosing the relationship over the immediate need to vent.
Right. And Carnegie had his own experience with this. He wrote a critical letter once to an author, Richard Harding Davis. The reply he got back was brutal, something like, "Your bad manners are exceeded only by your bad manners." Yeah, it stuck with him. It hammered home that point, like that Confucius saying, right? Don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof.
When your own doorstep is unclean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So focus on understanding, not condemning. Carnegie even includes this really touching story about a father realizing how much he criticized his little boy and regretting it deeply.
That's powerful stuff. So if criticism is out, what's the alternative?
Well, that leads straight into his second principle. Give honest, sincere appreciation.
And the emphasis there is on honest and sincere, right? This isn't about fake flattery.
Exactly. Flattery's cheap, usually selfish, and people often see right through it. Real appreciation, though. Carnegie says it's like sunlight to the human spirit. We crave it.
He tells the story about a business owner, had like 300 plus employees, constant critic. Then he started applying these ideas, focusing on appreciation.
Yeah.
Totally changed the place, turned enemies into friends, profits went up, people were happier. It shows the massive impact of making people feel genuinely valued.
It's not just in big business either, is it? There's that example of the gasworks executive.
Oh yeah, with the hard hats.
Yeah.
Instead of yelling at workers for not wearing them, he asked if the hats were uncomfortable, reminded them gently why they were important for their safety.
And it worked better.
Much better. Got compliance without the resentment. It taps into that basic human need for respect.
It makes me think of that story about Stevie Wonder, back when he was Stevie Morris.
Yeah.
A teacher noticed and appreciated his amazing hearing. That recognition was apparently a huge turning point for him.
Wow, that shows how life-changing appreciation can be. And it's not just for kids. Alfred Lunt, the famous actor, said, "There is nothing I need so much as nourishment for my self-esteem. It's universal."
Okay, so
right.
Don't criticize, give sincere appreciation. What's the third fundamental technique?
This one's key for influence. Arouse in the other person an eager want.
An eager want. What does that mean exactly?
It means shifting your focus. Stop thinking about what you want and start thinking about what they want. See things from their point of view. Appeal to their desires, their motivations.
Ah, okay. So it's less about pushing and more about understanding what pulls them.
Precisely. The example of the hotel manager and the lecture series is perfect. The lecturer wanted lower rent.
Right.
Instead of arguing about his own budget, he framed it entirely from the manager's perspective. Look, you could have an empty ballroom losing money, or you could have my lectures bringing people in, free advertising. He focused on the manager's potential gains and losses.
And that worked.
It did, because he addressed the manager's want. It's like those ineffective collection letters that just complain about the sender's problems.
Versus one that talks about the customer's credit rating or convenience.
Exactly. It's about perspective. Owen DeYoung had that great quote, something like, "People who can put themselves in the place of other people need never worry about what the future has in store for them."
That's powerful. It's really about empathy as a practical tool.
Totally. Like the Shell oil salesman getting the older station manager to clean up, he didn't nag.
What did he do?
He took him to see a really impressive, modern Shell station. Didn't say much, just let the manager see what could be. It tapped into the manager's own desire for a better business.
Ah, inspiring the want rather than demanding the action. Even the example with the little girl and breakfast.
Yeah, getting her to want to eat by letting her help make it, appealing to her desire to feel grown up. It works across the board, even Howard Thurston, the magician.
The Broadway guy.
Yeah, he apparently used to tell himself, "I love my audience," before going on stage. He knew his success depended on meeting their want for entertainment and wonder.
Okay, those are the fundamentals. Now, what about the specifics? The 6 ways to make people actually like you.
Right, let's get into those. Principle number 1 here is become genuinely interested in other people.
Genuinely interested, not just pretending.
Exactly. It's about cultivating real curiosity about others. Who are they? What do they care about? What are their experiences? Showing you value them.
There's that story about the sales rep. Johnson & Johnson, was it?
Yeah. He kept this big account partly because he always took time to chat with the soda clerks and the sales staff in the stores. He made them feel important.
And that built loyalty that went up the chain.
It created goodwill. Carnegie found this himself, showing sincere interest open doors. Even with really busy, important people, it makes the other person feel seen.
Like Mr. Napoli getting help from that executive he didn't even like.
Right. Just by asking for advice, showing interest in the executive's work, it changed the whole dynamic. Remember Publilius Syrus. We are interested in others when they are interested in us. It's reciprocal.
Makes sense. What's number 2?
Smile.
Just
Smile.
sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But a genuine smile. It's a powerful signal. Goodwill, approachability, it brightens things up.
The stockbroker example is pretty striking there. 18 years of being grumpy.
Yeah. And then he consciously decides to smile more. At his wife, at colleagues, and what happens? He reports being happier. His business actually improves. It's like William James's idea, act the way you want to feel.
Kind of. Act as if you're happy, and it can actually nudge you towards feeling happier. And it definitely makes others feel more positive towards you. That old Chinese proverb.
A man without a smiling face must not open a shop.
Exactly. It's fundamental to creating a welcoming atmosphere.
Okay, interest, smiling. What's 3rd?
This is a big one for Carnegie. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
Using their name.
Using their name and using it correctly. It's basic recognition, basic respect. That story about Mr. Levy, the lumber dealer.
Oh, the one who'd been in America 15 years and no one got his name right.
Yeah, when someone finally did, he was deeply moved. It validated his identity.
Andrew Carnegie knew this trick early on, didn't he? With the rabbits.
He did. Naming the rabbits after kids to get them invested. He understood the power of names instinctively. Later, naming the Edgar Thomson Steelworks, that wasn't just random. It was relationship building.
And FDR was famous for remembering names, too.
A key political skill. Napoleon III even had a technique for it, apparently asking people to repeat their name if he didn't catch it clearly. It matters that much.
Okay, number 4.
Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves.
Ah, the flip side of talking, maybe? Letting others have the floor?
Very much so. People generally love to talk about themselves, their interests, their problems, if they feel someone is genuinely listening. The Detmer Woolen Company example.
The angry customer.
Right. Came in furious. The listener just let him talk, let him get it all out, showed understanding.
And he ended up placing a bigger order.
Yeah. Feeling heard completely changed his attitude. Listening diffused the anger and built a connection.
Edward Bach used this too, right? Writing to famous people.
He did. He'd ask about their lives, their childhoods, and just listen to their replies. That's how he built those relationships. Isaac Marcusson said so many people fail to impress because they just don't listen attentively.
It's about making the other person feel like the focus. Like George Eastman letting James Adamson talk, even though the meeting was meant to be short.
Exactly. Eastman shared a bit, but mostly he listened and let Adamson ask questions. Turned 5 minutes into hours. That's the power of good listening.
Okay, principle 5.
Talk in terms of the other person's interests.
So connect what you want to say to what they care about.
Precisely. Tailor your conversation. If you want to talk to someone about quitting smoking and you know they adore their kids,
You might frame it around the kid's health or setting an example rather than just lecturing them.
exactly. You connect to their values, their interests. The supervisor in the yarn plant who had that tricky conversation with an operator.
He framed it around the benefits for the operator, didn't he?
Yes, made it about what the operator would gain. Much more effective.
Right. And the last one. Number 6.
Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely.
Back to that sincerity again. Feeling important. That taps into ego, maybe.
It taps into a fundamental human need for significance, for validation. We all want to feel like we matter.
The tax inspector example is good here. The guy seemed really conceited.
Yeah, but Mr. Parsons didn't argue. He sincerely acknowledged the importance of the inspector's job, his experience, and the inspector's whole demeanor changed. He became helpful.
Because his need to feel important was met.
Right. It diffused the situation. Buddha's wisdom applies here, you know? Hatred doesn't end hatred. Love does. Arguments don't end misunderstandings. Tact and empathy do. Seeing their viewpoint.
Lincoln advised against getting bogged down in personal arguments, too. Waste of time if you want to achieve something.
And Ben Franklin had that technique of avoiding definitive statements, starting disagreements by finding common ground first. It's all about respecting the other person, making them feel heard and valued.
Like Catherine Allred with the lumber inspector. She needed him to change his mind, but she started by sincerely asking for his expertise.
Even though she knew he was wrong initially, but by validating his role, making him feel important in finding the right solution for the firm, she got the outcome she needed without making him lose face.
So, wrapping it all up, these principles, they seem simple, but they're actually quite deep, aren't they?
They really are. They get to the core of human psychology, I think. Understanding others, genuine appreciation, making people feel important. It's about building positive connections.
So maybe the challenge for everyone listening is to pick one of these ideas.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
And consciously try to apply it in your next conversation, your next meeting, even at home. See what happens. Which principle sort of jumped out at you today?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
And remember, this deep dive is really just, well, scratching the surface. Carnegie's book is packed with stories and nuances.
Definitely worth exploring further if
It
this
is.
sparked your interest. Continue cultivating that understanding of human relations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep building those connections. Until next time.